Have you ever been told by your manager you're perfect for the job, only to fail the interview? It's crushing, right? You start asking yourself many questions, which can sometimes impact on your morale and motivation. This is the story of our writer today. Today's video is the first of a new series, Ask HR. I'll be bringing real life questions, stories about career, issues in the workplace, and concerns in the office. And I'll be answering these questions or analyzing these stories through the lens of an HR. So today, I bring you a question from my last webinar session. This is the question. So here is what happened. My manager, he pulled me aside and said, "You should apply for the internal role. I think you are great at it." I was flattered, excited, and honestly a little bit nervous. I applied for the job and got shortlisted and invited for the interview. I was so glad. I spent time preparing for the interview. I even asked to spend a day or two with the current post holder. Everything was going on great, and I started seeing myself in that role. On the day of the interview, I felt really confident with my answers, but just 2 days after the interview, I received an email from HR, and immediately my heart sank. I didn't get the job. A week later, I asked for feedback and was told I did well, but they went with a better candidate. Now I was left wondering why, what went wrong, and how do I make sure that I never miss a chance like this again? Hmm. You can relate to this, right? I can. And I've seen this happen many times. But today, I want to share what happened behind the scene so that when you come out from this, you can come back stronger, right? And that is exactly how I answered the question at the webinar. Let's look at this from the employer's perspective. Let's rewrite the story, right? Like an employee. This employee has narrated, oh, they've been working really hard, consistently performing. Maybe they go beyond, above and beyond in their role. And one day their line manager pulls them aside and say, "Hey, I think you should apply for this internal role. I believe in your potential." Their hearts will be racing. They think, finally, someone sees me. But they've applied for the job, they prepared hard, they got shortlisted for the interview, and then the rejection email lands. No offer. Hmm. This can be a lot, and it can throw a lot of emotions to somebody, right? Especially because you've impacted so much in your team and you felt now is the time that I've been seen, only to get that rejection. Now, let's look straight into this, the way and the things that happened behind the scene. From an HR perspective, why did this happen? Now, looking at this story is informative. Things happen because, yes, as an internal candidate, your manager has told you things, other people have seen your performance, and you're wondering, why did my manager endorse me and I still did not make it? The first thing that you need to know, your manager's fate is not equal to the panel's concession. Your manager sees your potential on your day to day activities. The interview panel on the other side are people that sometimes they see you from afar, they don't really know you. They are only focusing on your demonstrated capability for the role that you have applied for and on the day of the interview. They are looking for somebody that's all round. Let's cite an example. When you have applied for a role, right, as an internal candidate, and other people are coming from outside, they have seen everybody there as a candidate. So the panelists, some of them who are not just your managers, some of them are maybe other managers that don't really know you, or even when they know you, they're expecting so much from you. So that's one of the things that you have to be careful about. Your manager's vote or your manager's endorsement is not the same as the panel's concession. Secondly, interview performance matters more than familiarity. Internal interviews can be extremely easy and also very difficult at the same time. Let me break it down. Internal candidates often rely on, oh, they know me, but interviews really needs to be clear, structured, articulation of your skills and outcome. So internal interviews can be easy if, as an employer, you are knowledgeable about the organization's goal, you know the current objectives of the organization and where the organization is currently focusing on. Because naturally, more is expected from an internal candidate than an external candidate that doesn't really know about the organization. As an internal candidate, it is also very difficult to give accomplishments that aren't yours. How do I mean? Most time when you're preparing for an interview as an external candidate, we often talk about accomplishments that we've done or even sometimes accomplishments that we've observed, especially if you've seen that go through from start to finish. But as long as you're preparing it in a compelling way, nobody really knows on that panel if you did that accomplishment yourself or if you observed it. But that's not the case for internal candidates. For internal candidates, you have to talk about accomplishments that you did, that you achieved from start to finish. And if you want to talk about an accomplishment that you didn't do, you have to paraphrase it in such a way as a reflection, also being careful not to talk down anybody, either the person that did that role, because you everybody there knows everybody, isn't it? You don't want to talk down on people's job. Thirdly, other candidates may outshine on specifics. Yeah, you might be great on your day-to-day activities, but somebody else might have said their story better. They might have quantified their results more sharply or aligned with the panel's expectations more closely, especially for a particular question, maybe a strategic question. By the panel's expectation, another candidate may have done all of this. They may have done their research well. They might bring practical solution to challenges that your organization is facing, or even suggest ways to plug gaps more than you that you're an internal candidate. So, as an internal candidate, ensure that you are looking at these things. You're not just going there to talk about stuff. Bring solutions or prefer solutions that will increase revenue and all of that. Those are the specifics that I am referring to. Now, let's talk about biases or familiarity. That's another thing that happens behind the lens. Interviews bias is often unspoken, but they are real. They are real. Internal candidates are sometimes judged more harshly than people that are external, because people there have expectations or assumptions, of you as an internal candidate. So it's more likely that they will have heard so much about you and their expectations will really be high, but that's not the case for an external candidate. Imagine how your manager would have hyped you, in terms of the things that you do. They must have said different things. I mean, you may be their best staff or even one that brings solution to the table. At that interview, the panelists will be looking for somebody that's going to bring a lot to the table, and that is what they will be looking for. So when you go into that interview, they are not seeing you as, as Ash or as Ashetu. They are looking at all of the things that your manager has said about you, and they want to see you bring that or even more to the table. Now, let's talk about what you can do differently. So I'm going to be giving real practical advice on things that you can do differently to ensure that you bring your best self to the table, even as an internal candidate. Number one, don't assume that your reputation will carry you. When you walk into the interview room, be the candidate, not the colleague. Don't assume that they know me, so I just need to show up. You need to show up, but you must ensure that you're answering every question, bringing your best self, a new perspective, or even the unique self of you to the table. You need to be able to show that you are not just the colleague. You have come prepared, you are the candidate, and you have something to offer, not just to your manager, but to the organization as a whole. And you would have to show that to the panelists. Also, over prepare even as an internal candidate. Yes, you heard me right. It's very easy to slip into the mood of doing, the minimum. Maybe because you're busy at work, maybe because of your workload, but or you're even nervous that everybody is aware that you have this interview coming up. But this is an interview, and you have to prepare like you would prepare for every interview. Do your mock interviews, structure your answers, and match your experiences to the job description. In fact, use examples both on your current role and from your previous role. Thirdly, seek feedback the right way. I know that there will be a lot of emotions when you're told, oh, you didn't get the job, but ask for detailed and constructive feedback. And ensure that even when you are told that you were great but somebody else did better, push for specifics, ask politely, because that's the only way that's going to help you to do better if future opportunities arises. So you want to be sure that you're having specifics. Is it in my communication? Didn't I answer the question robust enough? Ask all those and it will help you in future. Fourthly, work on your internal brand. Make sure that you know beyond your team. Build visibility across departments, attend cross functional meetings, offer insights in public settings, when you are having different meetings and all that, ensure that you're speaking up. And even when you are working on your internal brand, know that before the interview, you're already being judged. Because even if it's in your role or the promotion is in your team, trust me, your manager will not be the only one on the panel. So you are not just going to impress your manager, you have to impress everybody that's on the panel. 5, develop interview storytelling skills. Being great at your job isn't enough. Being great at your job is just one step. You have to articulate your achievements and potentials clearly and confidently. So that is the best way, because at that interview, you are being scored based on the interview. They wouldn't be bringing things that you have done outside the interview. You are being scored just during that time. Close the gap before the next opportunity. So if you've had great feedback, if you've had constructive feedback, just ensure that you make everything worthwhile. So if they said you're lacking on this part or you need to work more on this, go get those things. If they've said, oh, you didn't have enough project management experience, for example, go get it. Whether it's inside the organization or it's outside the organization. I know this might be like I'm sounding like a broken record. Volunteer, choose to shadow somebody, actively grow in those areas that they've told you that you need or you need improvement in, because that's not going to cost you anything, right? So ensure that you grow in those. Rejection doesn't mean you weren't good enough. So that's the first thing that you have to understand. It just means for that moment, you weren't the right fit for how the role needed to be shown, or you haven't presented yourself well in that interview. But the next time you walk into that room, the next time you want to make sure that you are ready, not just with your manager's belief, but with your own foolproof strategy. If this video has been insightful or you have found it helpful in any way, don't forget to click the like button and the notification bell. And if you haven't subscribed, please ensure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then you're going to be getting real life tips anytime that we're doing a new video or anytime a new video comes out. If you have experienced this kind of situation, please drop your comments below, because that's going to be helping our writer. They'll be watching this video, they will see all your comments, they will learn from your comments, and they will be better when they have a future opportunity coming up. Until we meet in our next video, bye.